Good day, boxing fans. Saturday night in Windhoek, it is the turn of featherweight Abdulaziz Kunert here from Cape Town, so is my local guy, to fly the flag and see if he can score an upset win on the road in Windhoek, Namibia, over the unbeaten Mateus Heita in a 12-rounder for the WBO Africa Featherweight Championship. Can Abdulaziz Kunert pull this one off, or is it just a step too far for him? Stick around and let's break it down. Abdulaziz Kunert is an all-action fighter. He's a volume puncher. He's not a big puncher, but he's a volume puncher. He keeps those hands moving and he keeps throwing from bell to bell. And in his last fight, he lost a decision in a challenge for the South African featherweight title. It's his third attempt at this belt, and he lost there in the Orient Theatre to Xolisa Baiki in a hotly contested affair on points. And previously, he's also fought a draw against Xolisa Baiki in another challenge for the title. And before that, he lost a split decision to Asanda Ginley, also for the national title. So in his biggest fights, he's fallen just short of victory. Now he's up to redeem himself, and he is not taking an easy way. He's in for another championship fight for the WBO Africa belt, something that will get you a ranking in that organization. And he's fighting an undefeated fighter, Mateus Heita, who's got 9 knockouts in those 13 wins of his. Now, Mateus Heita, he's a come-forward kind of fighter. He's a stocky, broad sort of build, and he likes to come forward, and then he explodes. He hits those almost Mike Tyson-like hooks and uppercuts, hooks to the body, uppercuts to the head, and from a little bit further out, he throws the right hand. Now, Mateus Heita, what I could see, the very limited footage that I could find, he's not the quickest guy on his feet in the way he moves. He's not a speedster. He's slightly maybe on the slow side for a featherweight, and he's a bit of a plodder. You know, he's flat on his feet, but when he opens up, he's very explosive and he can crack. You can see he's got power, hence his high knockout ratio. So once he gets you, he can hurt you. He can crack, but he's also very hittable. I've seen him get hit with straight shots, get hit with jabs, get hit with uppercuts. In his last fight, he stopped Tatenda Beningu from Zimbabwe in 5 rounds. You know, he was opening up on the ropes and the referee waved it over. I thought it was a slightly quick stoppage from what I could see, which wasn't the greatest footage, so I could be wrong. So that's something that Abdulaziz Kunert is going to have to be wary of. Don't sit there on the ropes and let the guy tee off on you. Although I've heard that the referee will be South African Dion Duarte, so I know Dion he'll give both fighters a fair shake. So that's good news. But Abdulaziz Kunert, you know, in his best fights, he's only got 3 knockouts. He's got 12 wins with 3 knockouts, 3 losses and a draw. And in his best wins, when he did score knockouts against Mfusi Makai, I was ringside commentating on that fight and then Jona Sehu, I was commentating on that fight as well with his trainer Solidoli. And in those fights, you know, he got the distance, he's got behind his jab, and he threw his straight right with his feet, going with that straight right, stepping forward as he threw the right, getting all the momentum behind it, and he knocked those guys out with that straight right, found some power. But a fighter sometimes has a psychological identity, and I think that's the thing with Kunert. He's got not a boxer's identity in his mind, he's got a fighter's identity. So he often just starts slugging with his opponents, and then it's one for you, one for me. And usually it works for him because he's so fit and he's got such a high work rate, he just outworks them, volume punching, he just outworks them to get over on the rounds. But sometimes, you know, like what happens against Baiki, that might happen here against Heita, is the other guy punches back, but he punches back with more authority. The shots are harder and clearer, so the judges have to choose something, and then they choose that guy. And if it's going to be the house fighter, they're always inevitably going to choose that guy. Now guys, tell me in the comments, who do you think wins? Mateus Heita or Abdulaziz Kunert? Can he spring the upset? How do they win and why do they win? I'm always interested in hearing from you guys. Now, for me, and I'm sure that's what we'll try and do, Kunert needs to stay in the center of the ring. He's the quicker fighter. He does have speed and he does have work rate. Those are the two things that he does have over Mateus Heita. I don't know how good Heita's stamina is over a fast-paced 12 rounds. He's gone 12 rounds before, but I can't find footage of that fight. And against Jonas Mateus, his countryman, but I can't find footage of that fight, so I don't know what the pace was like. So Kunert might be able to fight that brawling style and just outwork him over 12 and make him tired, but I wouldn't do that because once again there's going to be the same problem that you had in the Henry fight, in the fights of Baiki, if the other guy is going to hit for harder shots even though you're outworking him and you're not going to get the rounds on the judges' card. So I think Kunert must use his speed. He must be in the center of the ring, he must use his jab, throw that right hand, time it well and step behind that right hand when he throws it. You know, he's going to have to feint, he's going to have to do the uppercuts on the inside and then step around Heita, step around. Don't stand there and start with that momentum slugging that he likes to do. Don't do that. Throw the combination, step around, get the distance again and fight Heita from there. Because Heita rolls and he ducks like that. But Heita also just drops his hands here after punching. And there will be openings. Heita gives you openings to punch him. So that is what I'm thinking for Abdulaziz Kunert. What worries me about Kunert is he takes right hands. And Heita throws a good right hand. You know, Kunert depends on his chin, but against Heita it might just come unstuck. And that's what worries me a little bit. I think it's going to be a great fight. I think it's going to, you fans there in Windhoek, I think you're going to enjoy it. You're going to like Kunert after this fight, even if he doesn't win. So Dula is my guy. You know, when I did some ringside commentary back in the days of Ade Oladipo on Kweze TV, he was always one of the fighters on the cards. He's got a very nice human interest story of turning his life around. So I'm rooting for Dula, obviously. But I got to call it like I see it. And for me, I think at this stage of his career, it's going to take a lot to keep Abdulaziz Kunert in the center of the ring for 12 rounds and fighting that disciplined fight, not getting drawn into a slugfest. But I think he's going to give Mateus Heita perhaps his hardest fight, but Heita can punch. He got rid of Tato Bonakwane very quickly, whom we know is usually terrible. So I'm thinking that Heita is going to rock Kunert a couple of times, and it's going to be the same old thing after a while, because I don't think Kunert has got the power to really hurt Heita, and I think Heita is going to use his power to be more eye-catching. So I'm thinking Mateus Heita is going to win this one. Maybe he can be the first to stop Kunert, a late TKO, but I'm kind of thinking that Kunert is going to survive again in another war, but in the end, Mateus Heita is going to win a unanimous decision. So, Abdullah, all the best. Prove me wrong, please, but that's what I think. So that's what I'm going to say. And yeah, that is the fight between Abdulaziz Kunert and Mateus Heita. So guys, tell me what you guys think. And as always, remember to keep your hands up.